Happy Wednesday to you, fellas. Well, I got a time limit on this one because in about roughly 45 minutes, I have to do an internet interview with someone. You could probably hear my son in the background, Caden. If you can, I can. I can hear him in the background with my wife. Um, Yeah, this was another one. I did a recent video where I said it was an unexpected or unplanned video. Yeah, again, some of my videos are planned at least a day ahead of time. I'd say anywhere from 12 to 24 hours ahead of time. And then I have other videos I do that are kind of just spontaneous, spur of the moment. This is one of those videos. And this relates to a young brother that receives a mixed reaction here on YouTube. He's a young brother by the name of Aaron Fountain, who's actually currently a student at my alma mater, which is Indiana University in Bloomington, Indiana. As most people know, that's where I received my undergraduate degree in economics. Yeah, I received a bachelor's degree in economics from Indiana University with a minor in psychology and theater and drama. And then I proceeded to do 1 year of graduate business school, the Kelley School of Business MBA program, which I might add, at the time I entered the program, it was actually ranked as the 5th best graduate business school in the country, but I didn't complete it. It was a 2-year program. I did 1 year, then I did an internship at New Line Cinema in Beverly Hills, and I just ended up staying out in Los Angeles for the next 6.5 years. But anyway, Aaron Fountain is pursuing a PhD, his doctoral degree at Indiana University. I forget what field of study. I can't remember. But anyway, with Aaron Fountain, no, I like Aaron. I don't necessarily agree with everything he says, including what I'm going to talk about in this video. But I generally respect Aaron. You know, if nothing else, I believe he's entitled to any opinion he wants to express, good or bad, about the manosphere. He has a lot of thoughts, criticisms, and opinions about both the worldwide manosphere, or what some other people call the white manosphere, as well as the black manosphere. And that's why there's a lot of people that don't care for him on YouTube, a lot of black men that don't care for him. But then there's a lot of other people, who do like him and respect him. So no, I don't have any major problem with him. But he did. Well, first of all, I want to talk about something first that kind of will segue me right into what I want to talk about in regard to Aaron. Regarding my next to last, was it my next to last video or last video? My last video. I had a couple guys. It wasn't many. It's just 2 guys. 2 guys came in my comment section and basically said something to the effect of, "Hey, Alan, man, how dare you try to disparage the late, great comedian Patrice O'Neal when he's not here alive to defend himself? How dare you disparage him by saying he was purple pill rather than red pill? I think that was wrong of you, man." One guy said, "Man, I've lost some respect for you for going after Patrice O'Neal and trying to paint him as purple pill when everybody knows he's one of the red pill thought leaders." See, it just shows I got a lot of stupid people watching and listening to my videos. If you listen to that video closely, I actually never said specifically that Patrice O'Neal was purple pill. Never said that. And again, there's a saying that people see what they want to see, hear what they want to hear, read what they want to read, believe what they want to believe. I never said in specific terms Patrice O'Neal was definitely purple pill. What I said in that video was, if you're going to make the argument that any guy who is involved in a long-term relationship with a woman, is engaged to be married to a woman, or is married to a woman is automatically purple pill rather than red pill, then you would also have to make the argument that Patrice O'Neal was purple pill because he was engaged to be married at the time of his death. And the main reason I was talking about that, because I've had people say that about me. I can name a couple of black male YouTube content creators by name, but for right now I won't. But they know who they are. But yeah, I had some black male content creators with me beginning with mid to late February of last year that made the comment, well, Alan Rogers Currie, I used to respect him as a red pill thought leader and content creator. But once he got engaged, in my mind, he automatically became purple pill. And somebody said that as recently as within the last month. Somebody accused me of being purple pill by virtue of the fact that I'm now married. And so that's what I made the argument. I said, if you're going to call me purple pill instead of categorizing me as red pill, based simply on the fact that I'm now married, then you would have to say that Patrice O'Neal was purple pill. Because again, he was set to be married in December of 2011. It just so happened he happened to pass away. He died due to complications related to his type 2 diabetes and his high blood pressure in late November of 2011. But he was set to be married that very next month. So again, I didn't call him purple. I didn't say in matter-of-fact terms, Patrice O'Neal is or was purple pill. I said, if you're going to make the argument that any guy who's got a long-term girlfriend, a fiance, or a wife is automatically purple pill, then you would have to make the argument that Patrice O'Neal was also purple pill. Now, again, not too many people tried to challenge my video. It was only two guys. I think at least one of the two guys, if not both of them, I deleted the comments, so you probably won't be able to see the comments anymore. I know at least one of the two, I deleted his comment. But yeah, I had two guys come in my comment section talking about, oh man, I think it's wrong for you to disparage Patrice O'Neal. You know, he's not alive to defend himself. What does he need to defend? What does he need to defend? I was never the one who said he wasn't red pill in the first place. I'm one of those guys who believes you can be red pill and be married, or engaged to be married, or have a long-term girlfriend. There's all you other idiots out here who believe you can't be red pill if you got a long-term girlfriend, a fiance, or a wife. That's you. Yeah, I said idiots. Yeah, you idiots out here who believe that stupid shit. I've never ever expressed that you can't be red pill. Again, I'm going to point out for the millionth time, Rollo Tomasi is one guy who's, by his fans, is categorized as the godfather of red pill knowledge and wisdom, and he's been married for at least 2 decades. So make that make sense. But anyway, now let me segue into talking about Aaron Fountain. Aaron Fountain posted a comment on his community page this morning where he basically said that he doesn't believe in the concept of red pill rage. He said, I don't have it right in front of me, so whatever I say, I'll be paraphrasing his words. But yeah, he said he doesn't really believe. He doesn't believe. His attitude is either A, there is no such thing as red pill rage, or at minimum, he believes there shouldn't be any such thing as red pill rage. Because he said he believes all men should have grown up knowing that there's no such thing as the proverbial good girl. Matter of fact, what was one of my most notable videos I did when I first got on YouTube that a couple people bit off of my title? That's another story for another day. They know who they are. Some people ended up literally almost blatantly biting off of my title. But one of my most first memorable videos I did within the first 2-3 months after I got on YouTube, which was in April of 2017, I did a video called The Myth of the Prudish and Strictly Monogamy-Oriented Good Girl. The Myth of the Prudish and Strictly Monogamy-Oriented Good Girl. I talked about that when I spoke at the 21 convention in 2018. That was a segment of my speaking presentation. Was the myth of the prudish and strictly monogamy-oriented good girl. Now, in all honesty, some of this is going to be repetitive to a lot of you guys because at minimum, there have been at least 2 videos just earlier this year. One very recently, I want to say that I did within the last couple of weeks, where I addressed this already. Yeah, it was just 2 videos ago. Literally 2. It was only for a brief segment, about maybe 15 to 20 minute segment of my video. But I talked about how I've had some male clients of mine that dislike my Mode 1 approach, not because it failed to help them get laid, which is usually why most people dislike it. Most guys criticize and dislike my Mode 1 approach because they either assume it's not going to help them get laid, or they've actually tried it and it didn't help them get laid. But I said in this video, my next to last video, I've had at least a small percentage of guys who didn't like my Mode 1 approach because it worked. Because it helped them get laid. And the most recent incident of that was I was doing a consultation session with a guy who he had this woman that started off as just a friend of his, even though he knew deep down he wanted to date her. It was a woman he wanted to date. He saw her more as girlfriend, long-term girlfriend material than fuck buddy material. So let's start there. There was this woman, let's call her Linda. And he looked at Linda as long-term girlfriend. He looked at her as the proverbial good girl. Because of the way she carried herself, just her overall personality and behavior. He had her categorized as the good girl. And because he didn't have the confidence and courage to really express his romantic desires and interests to her in an upfront, straightforwardly honest manner, i.e. Mode 1 manner, he ended up falling into her friend zone for a number of months. I'd say at least 9 months. He was in her friend zone. Then, after doing some consultations with me, he gained the confidence and courage to not only express that he wanted to date her, but he talked to her in a very sexually provocative, sexually explicit manner. He basically, you could say, he was Mode 1 hardcore with her. What I call Mode 1 hardcore. He ended up being Mode 1 hardcore with her one night, and she ended up being receptive to it, which you would think would be a good thing. She ended up being receptive to it and gave him some pussy. But interesting enough, instead of him being happy about the fact that he was able to fuck her as a result of being Mode 1 hardcore, he told me in the consultation session that he ended up becoming Mode 4. He ended up becoming bitter about it. And when I get into too long a story, his basic attitude was, man, I didn't want Mode 1 hardcore to work with her. Because I thought she was a good girl. He said that basically, in so many words, he said that ruined my whole image, not only of her individually, but he said it ruined my whole image of women who I believe to be good girl types totally. And he's not the only one. I've had at least a handful of male clients who have experienced a similar situation. Yeah, he said it left him, like, after he fucked her, like the next day, he said he was, instead of being nothing but happy and full of smiles, he was angry. He was basically like, damn, man, I thought this bitch was a good girl, man. I thought she was like girlfriend material, wife material. And she gave the pussy to me just because I started talking dirty to her and started talking about how much I wanted to fuck the shit out of her. And I let him know, I ain't going to give all the details of my consultation session, but I let him know, man, he's a judgmental motherfucker, man. He's a judgmental motherfucker. And see, this is where red pill rage is real, Aaron and others. There's 2 general situations that will usually cause a man to experience red pill rage. In some cases, it can be temporary. For a lot of guys, it's just temporary. It might last a few days, a few weeks, maybe 2 or 3 months, and then they transition out of that stage. And then other guys remain there almost permanently, indefinitely. I tend to refer to guys who remain in a red pill rage state indefinitely as black pill. Now, of course, I've gotten a lot of art debates about that definition and description. Some people have criticized me for that definition and description, and they offer an alternative definition and description for what it means to be black pill. They're entitled to their opinions. I'm sticking to my own opinion. I'm not going to necessarily say all of their opinions are invalid, but because they're entitled to whatever opinions they have about what they feel black pill is and what it means. But for me, and I say this in my book, No Free Attention, for me, black pill represents when you're basically permanently in a red pill rage mind mentality. And what are the two most situations that provoke red pill rage? Red pill rage. Number one, I've already alluded to it. See, there's a lot of guys, and I talked about this in that video I did about when I talked about Sigmund Freud and the Madonna horror complex earlier this year. See, here's what a lot of guys like to do. A lot of guys like to neatly put women in two convenient categories, which is either prudish, monogamy-oriented good girls that they feel more than qualified to be someone's wife, potential wife. Excuse me. Those are the women who men generally categorize as the women that they feel have the qualifications to be a man's long-term girlfriend and later his fiancée or wife, is the women who they feel are good girls. I mean, it's two types of women that generally tend to fall in the good girl category. Would be women that are virgins, or if not virgins, women who have only indulged in sex with a man who was their husband, fiance, or long-term boyfriend. Those are the women that most men generally categorize as good girls. It's either women who are virgins or women who have only engaged in episodes of sex with a man who was their husband, fiance, or long-term boyfriend. Now, we all know if you at the age I am and the maturity level I am and the level of knowledge, wisdom that I have, you know the term boyfriend doesn't mean shit. There's no legalities associated with being a woman's boyfriend. That title don't mean jack shit. So if you didn't know that before this video, you know that now. That title don't mean shit. Long-term girlfriend, that don't mean shit. All that usually means, when you have a title boyfriend, that means you're a woman's fuck buddy who might have the approval of all her friends and even her parents. That's all that means. You're a fuck buddy who has the approval of all her friends, relatives, and most notably her parents. Other than that, it don't mean shit. Title boyfriend don't mean shit. Same with the title girlfriend, don't mean shit. As far as I'm concerned, that just means a fuck buddy you spend. It's just another term for a polyamorous lover, in a nutshell. That's just another term for a polyamorous lover, man. A woman you having sex with without being married to, but you also spend a lot of time with her non-sexually, and you have some degree of an emotional attachment to her. That's the only thing that separates a girlfriend from, say, a polyamorous lover or a long-term fuck buddy, is that you're spending time with her both sexually and non-sexually, which is similar to a polyamorous lover, and you have some degree of emotional attachment to her, which is also similar to a polyamorous lover. But, without going a long digression, those titles don't mean shit. Wife, husband means something. Fiance, that really means something. Boyfriend, girlfriend don't mean shit. Don't mean shit. So, that's the number one type of woman, the two types of women that guys tend to categorize as good girls. Then on the flip side, a lot of men in the manosphere, they believe if a woman has engaged in casual sex, short-term, non-monogamous casual with the sex with a man 2 or more times, that she's either a slut or at least a borderline slut who's not really worthy of being a man's long-term girlfriend, fiance, or wife. Because they judgmental than a motherfucker, is what it comes down to. They judgmental than a motherfucker. They suffer from the Madonna whore complex. And I'm not going to rehash that whole video, but that's what they suffer from. So a lot of guys like to put women in those two categories. In some overly simplistic terms, a lot of guys like to put women either in the category of good girl or slut. Good girl or slut. Good girl or slut. When the reality is there's women that are shades of gray in between those two extremes. Most women are neither one of those. And again, I talk about that in my book, Who Said Again? On my scale from 1 to 5, if a good girl represents a 5 and a highly promiscuous slut represents a 1, then most women in society are 2s, 3s, and 4s. 2s, 3s, and 4s. And it's those women that cause men, Aaron, and others to experience red pill rage. Basically, in my numerical terms, if you meet a woman and you grow to assume that she's a 5, only to find out later that she's a 2, 3, or 4, that's when you're going to experience red pill rage. That's the number one time you're going to experience red pill rage. Is when you meet a woman that you thought was a 5, only to realize later on that she was either a 2, a 3, or a 4. Especially a 2 or a 3. Anytime you meet a 5 and you assume, you assume that a woman's a 5, but later on you find out a woman's either a 2 or a 3, and to a lesser extent a 4, you're going to experience red pill rage, either for a few hours, a few days, a few weeks, even a few months. I've seen it happen time and time again. Again, the most recent evidence of that, again, was this consultation session I had with a client like about 2 weeks ago. That's exactly what happened with him. His female friend, who I call Linda, he thought Linda was a 5. He thought Linda was a 5. And once he found out she was a 4, more of a 4 than a 5, he couldn't handle it. He couldn't handle it. Once he found out she was a 4 instead of a 5, he couldn't handle it, man. It like pissed him off. Again, it was interesting because he ended up actually despising my Mode 1 approach because it worked. His attitude was shit. If all a man has to do to turn a 5 into a 3 or a 4 by using Mode 1, or even more specifically Mode 1 Hardcore, then he was like, I don't trust none of these women out here. I don't trust none of these women who I thought or assumed were good girls. So that's the number one situation that's always going to cause red pill rage. It could be at minimum for only a few hours in a man's mind, and it could be as long as a few months. But again, situation number one is when you start off assuming that a woman is a prudish, monogamy-oriented good girl who totally frowns on the idea of short-term non-monogamous casual sex, only to realize she is willing to indulge in casual sex. And now all of a sudden in your mind, you're like, oh, she's a no-good slut. You basically go from one extreme to the other. Because you judgmental than a motherfucker, man. And if anybody owns one book, Who Said Again, they know I hate judgmental motherfuckers. I can't stand none of y'all. I'll tell you that straight up. If you're a judgmental type dude, I don't like you. I'll tell you straight up, I don't like you. I hate judgmental motherfuckers, man. I hate highly judgmental men. Can't stand them. Real talk, man. I can't say it enough. I can't stand guys who are highly judgmental. See, a lot of that comes from, man, I've talked about this on at least a half a dozen videos. See, a lot of you men want to naively believe that women are more different than us sexually than they are similar to us sexually. That's what caused a lot of men to become blue pill in the first place, is buying into the belief that women are far different than us sexually. Two things specifically. A lot of men from the time they're teenagers grow up believing that women don't enjoy sex as much as men do. And more specifically, they grow up believing that women put a much higher premium on long-term strict monogamy than the average man does. And those two things combined is what causes you to become blue pill in the first fucking place. Women love to fuck just as much, if not more, than we do. Facts. Not opinion, facts. Look up the word nymphomaniac. Women love to fuck just as much as we do. But because of you judgmental motherfuckers out here, they got to go around acting like they're respectable good girls. Real talk. Real fucking talk. That's why they play that good girl role, because of you motherfuckers. Because of you judgmental motherfuckers. I explain that in my books. That's 90% of the reason why you get women who are sexually duplicitous and go around being actresses acting like they prudish, monogamy-oriented good girls, because of you judgmental motherfuckers. You created them. Men are sexual human beings. We ain't born with no predisposition towards long-term strict monogamy, and neither are women. Daniel Bergner points that out in his book. He says there's never been any scientific proof that women have any natural biological predisposition, proclivities towards long-term strict monogamy. That's what men... Long-term strict monogamy is a social construct created by men to make themselves sleep better at night. Drops mic. That's not only my opinion, but as I just mentioned, Daniel Bergner says that in his book. That's one reason why I love this book so much. He basically says, those weren't his exact words, but in essence, that's what he says. He says, look, the idea of women putting a high premium on long-term strict monogamy is a social construct created by men, I would say more specifically, judgmental, possessive men to make themselves sleep better at night. Women like to fuck just like we do. And they have the same delineations just like we do. Just like we have delineations between good girl and slut. That's why women have their delineation. I talk about this in the beta male revolution. Their similar delineation is between alpha male and beta male. Basically, women's delineation between alpha male and beta male is very similar to our delineation between good girl and slut. You could say for a woman, a womanizing alpha male is the male equivalent in a woman's mind to a man being a kinky, sexually satisfying slut. Most women don't want to marry a womanizing alpha male. They just want to be fucked by him. They don't want to marry him. They don't want to be in a long-term relationship with him. I've had women when I was in my 20s and 30s that told me that to my face. It was like, I had so many women. I can't count how many women basically said to me, Alan, I would never marry you. I would never want to be your long-term girlfriend, but I like your dick. I like you fucking me as a fuck buddy. But you ain't. I had a woman, the last woman I had tell me that, I've talked about this on at least one video, was in 2013. So about 8 years ago. Yeah, I had a woman, she lived in suburban Chicago. I used to mess around. She told me that one time, man, we were talking on the phone, having phone sex. And at one point, she just started laughing. And I said, what's so funny? She said, Alan, I bet you must get kind of pissed when you deal with a lot of women, don't you? And I said, pissed? What? Pissed how? She said, I don't want to hurt your feelings. I said, no, go ahead and be real. Be real. Speak your truth. And she said, well, I would get the impression that a lot of women just use you as either a short-term casual sex fuck buddy or just a kinky, dirty talking phone sex partner, or a combination of those two. Either one or the other, or a combination of those two. She said, that's the impression I get about you. She said, I don't see a lot of women looking at you as husband material or long-term boyfriend material. And she said, again, I don't want to, I'm not trying to offend you, but I just don't. I said, no, you're not offending me because I've heard it before. But where she did honestly kind of insult me, I asked her to elaborate. I said, okay, be more specific. What do you think doesn't make me husband material? She said, well, one, you don't really have anything to offer in terms of like, she said, in so many words, she was like, you don't have a high degree of career success or financial success. She said, so that for me would eliminate you from being, now, honestly, I make much more money than I was making in 2013. So that assessment wouldn't be valid today. But at that time, which was 8 years ago, yeah, she said, in so many words, she said, you don't have enough career success or financial success to be husband material. And then she says, secondly, you just a combination of too kinky and too promiscuous. And women don't want to date guys in a relationship like that. Yeah, she said, we don't mind having a guy as a short-term casual sex fuck buddy that's a combination of kinky and promiscuous, but no woman wants to be in a long-term relationship or marriage with a guy like that. At least not no high-quality woman. So again, my main point was, women look at alpha versus beta the same way most men look at good girl versus slut. Women look at womanizing alpha males as the sluts. And they look at most financially self-sufficient, monogamy-oriented beta males as the male equivalent to what we look at as good girls. Now, so in other words, most women want to be in long-term relationships or marriages with beta males who are a combination of financially self-sufficient, if not flat out wealthy, and number two, very monogamy oriented. And they want to have casual sex with guys who are womanizing alpha males. Just like men. That's why I said, man, women are more similar to us than they're different from us. And most men don't seem to understand that. Most men don't, and I'll say this, a lot of men don't understand that. And once they do fully understand that, that's when a lot of them experience red pill rage. That's what causes red pill rage for a lot of men, is when they really come to the full realization that women aren't that much different than us when it comes to sexuality. They aren't that much different from us. Matter of fact, they're damn near the same. They're damn near the same. Women want the good guy just like most men want the good girl. For marriage and long-term relationships, they want the good guy. They don't want the womanizer for a relationship. They want the womanizer for casual sex, just like we want the slut for casual sex. And a lot of men can't handle that, man. See, to me, that's what I define as red pill. Red pill is when you not only understand that, but you fully accept it. You not only understand that, but you accept it. I've accepted that since I was in my 20s. I've always accepted the idea that women are really essentially just like us. Matter of fact, if you read my book, No Free Attention, I talk about a backstory. I had a conversation with these three women in Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority in 1984. And this one woman, she was one of the first women to break that down to me when I was in college. That's when I first realized that was when I was in college. This AKA broke it down. She in so many words said that. She said, Alan, a lot of you men don't realize us women, we just like y'all in terms of delineations. We just like y'all. She basically was like, there's some guys we just want to fuck just to be fucking. Just because that guy is really, really fine, really, really sexy, really, really seductive, really, really masculine, got a reputation for having a big dick. We just want to fuck that guy. Then there's other guys that we look at as more boyfriend, husband material, that we want to be in a long-term relationship with and possibly marry. She's basically like, those two guys aren't the same. Those two guys aren't the same. In most cases, they're totally different guys that we have totally different criteria for, just like us. Here's the second situation, then I'm going to wrap up. Second situation, that will cause a man to experience red pill rage is when, again, the first situation is when a guy assumes that a woman is a prudish, monogamy-oriented good girl, which I call in my book, Who Said Again, a 5, only to realize later on that she's really a 2, a 3, or a 4, which means she's sexually duplicitous. That's the number one situation that causes a man to experience red pill rage. The second most situation that causes a man to experience red pill rage doesn't have to do with a woman's degree of promiscuity or her willingness to indulge in casual sex, but more so her choice of men. This kind of relates to Elliot Rodger. If you read Elliot Rodger, that mass murderer, his manifesto, he had a problem with beautiful, blonde, Caucasian women on his college campus preferring black men, poor black men, over rich white men. He had a major problem with that. And there's a lot of men who do. Including some guys, not only here in the manosphere, but more specifically here in the black manosphere. I can call out at least minimum one guy by name, but for right now I won't. But I remember, man, a guy who's fairly well known in the black manosphere, he called into my Blog Talk radio show one time and basically said that. We were talking and he said, Alan, I was a guy who was brought up to believe that if you studied hard, made good grades in school, was college educated, established a good career for yourself, and had good morals, values, ethics, and integrity, you would have your pick of the litter of beautiful, sexy, intelligent women. He said only to later find out that a lot of beautiful, sexy, intelligent, college-educated women, some of them end up with, as he called it, Day Day and Pookie and Ray Ray, all them street names that guys like to give. And he basically said, that pissed me off. And I said to this brother, here's your problem, man. None of the qualities, desirable qualities that you say you possess had anything to do with getting a woman's pussy wet. I said, I don't care how intelligent you are, how educated you are, how accomplished you are in your career, how much money in your bank account. If you don't know how to get a woman's pussy wet, either verbally, like I do, and or physically, such as, fingering a woman or whatever, the way you kiss on a woman's body, if you don't know how to get a woman's pussy wet and keep it wet, you're going to have problems. You're going to have problems. A lot of guys don't want to accept that, but it's the truth. Shit, if you took away my mouthpiece, I wouldn't have fucked 3/4 of the women I fucked casually. And that's real talk. If you took away my verbally smooth and verbally seductive mouthpiece and my talent for erotic dirty talk, if you took that away and just left me with every other quality I have other than that quality, I probably would have only ended up in bed with about 20 to 25% of the women in my life that I've had casual sex with. I would say no less than 3/4 of the women that I've had casual sex with in my life let me know that the main reason why they opened up their legs for me was because of how verbally smooth and verbally seductive I was and my talent for kinky, erotic, dirty talk. I made women come just with my voice without laying one finger on them, without kissing them, without finger fucking them, nothing, without touching them at all. I made women not only get their pussy wet, but I made women come. I made at least a handful of women come without even them finger fucking themselves. I remember one time in the 1990s, early to mid-1990s, I was over a woman's house and I started talking dirty to her. I wasn't kissing on her, wasn't touching her. I just was talking dirty to her, man. All of a sudden, she just started. And I was like, holy shit. I said, did you just come? And she was like, yeah. I was like, really? I was actually shocked at the time. I was like, you just can't. I said, I didn't even touch you. She said, I know. I said, you didn't even touch yourself. She said, yeah, I know. I said, but you came. She said, yeah. I was like, damn. I had to give it myself credit. I was like, damn, I'm a bad motherfucker. And after that, I did it like 3 or 4 other times where I made a woman come without me touching her and without her touching herself. King of verbal seduction and kinky, erotic, dirty talk. Anyway, that was a braggadocious digression. But no, what I was saying is, yeah, man, you got to be able to get a woman's pussy wet, man. I don't care. You could had intelligence that Albert Einstein had accomplishments of Barack Obama. But man, if you don't know how to get a woman's pussy wet, you either got to know how to get a woman's pussy wet, either some kind of physical means, the way you kiss on them, the way you touch their bodies, or verbal means. You got to know how to talk dirty to women in a certain way, or ideally a combination of both of those. Most ideal is a combination of both physical and verbal. But yeah, man. So anyway, yeah, but that's the second thing that leads a lot of men, causes a lot of men to go into a red pill rage state, is when they tend to assume, like, I'll use an example. Let's say you got this woman named Michelle. She's from an upper middle class, 2-parent family background. She went to a top tier college for undergrad, then went to another top tier university for graduate school. Let's say she majored in microbiology, and then she goes to med school. And there's some guys who think that Michelle is going to automatically want a man that's just like her, who, was a Dean's List scholar in undergrad, earned a degree in microbiology or biology, and went on to med school. But let's say that woman, Michelle, ends up, at least for 6 months, in a 6-month casual fling with the local drug dealer. Or some kind of, street thug type dude. See, a guy will look at that, if he came from the same family background as her, and his expectations were that she should be attracted more to a guy like him, but he sees her choose this guy from a different socioeconomic class, severely less education, he's going to experience red pill rage. He's going to be like, well, goddamn, why'd she choose that motherfucker? That's part of what contributes to this ongoing thing in the black manosphere about the Pookie and Ray Ray versus educated lame debate. Yeah, man, a lot of guys can't handle that. Again, Elliot Rodger couldn't handle that, man. Elliot Rodger couldn't handle that. It was racially motivated. Yeah, he didn't like seeing really beautiful, blonde, Caucasian women with black men who were poor but athletic. Poor but athletic. He hated that. Read his manifesto for yourself. Yeah, he hated that, man. He hated that shit. So anyway, man, all that to say, I gotta go. Yeah, I definitely gotta go. I got an interview coming up in like a few minutes. Aaron Fountain. I know, I respect your opinions, even if they differ from mine. But yeah, man, red pill rage is real, man. For better or for worse, it's real, man. A lot of guys, but it's most guys' own fault, is what it is. It's most guys' own fault. One thing, again, I will emphasize again, that contributes to a lot of men's red pill rage is their own judgmental, Madonna horror influenced attitudes and beliefs. Assuming that women should naturally and biologically be more predisposed towards long-term strict monogamy and romantic faithfulness than themselves. You fuck it up. When you adopt those type of beliefs and attitudes, those naive beliefs and attitudes, you fuck it up and you setting yourself up for red pill rage. That's all I got for you. Talk to you guys soon. Peace.
Yes, sir. Say it again.
Yes, sir.
Who's the king?
Alan, you're the king.
Say it again.
Alan, you're the king. You're dominating me.
Say it again.
Alan, you're dominating me right now. Mode 1.
Mode 1.
Daddy, can I go, please? You're the king.
Say it again.
Oh, you're the fucking king. Yes. Yes. Yes.
You're the king, Alan.
AKA the king of verbal seduction. You know, it's the tone of your voice, how seductive your intonations are, the vibrations that you could just reach out over the phone lines and stroke a woman's breast just by the sound of your voice, how you could make her pussy so wet just by the sound of your voice. That's actually very hot.
So you said my show was what?
I said your show is powerful.
Oh, say it again.
Your show is powerful.
I bet the king would fuck me really good.
Who's the king?
Alan Roger Currie.
Oh, yeah. Who's the king?
Alan Roger Currie. The king.
The king.
The king.
I have to agree with you on the communication piece, because I actually did take a session with Alan Roger Currie, and he gave me a line that I did not think was going to work, and it worked. And I was like, what the fuck?
Oh my God!
Man, he's the master. He's the master of the verbal seduction. He got that communication piece down pat.
It really worked. It just simply worked, and I just didn't think it was going to work at all.
Some guys have natural handles. Some guys have a better natural shot, but you can always improve your shot. And sex is damn sure something you can fucking learn. Look, dude, you want to learn how to talk better? I'm hiring Alan Roger Currie to get my dirty talk game on, because it's always been something I want to get better at.
Verbal seduction, man. I'm like, clearly, this guy's the Michael Jordan of seduction. Like, you know, come on now.